Hey guys. Hello, hello. I see a lot of you are already on. That's amazing. Can you guys hear me and see me? Getting on in the scheduled stream is a little bit different than when I get on like the usual way out of the blue. And so it's like an extra couple of clicks to actually go live. So I'm always like, am I live? Am I live? Let me know if you can see me and hear me, you guys. It looks like Tammy can see me. All right, awesome. We already have a whole chat going. Let me scroll back up and see who's here. Hi, Kathy. Oh, Kathy, yeah, it sounds like no pinning for you today. I just had to do that a month or so ago. No fun. Hi, Patty. Hey, Robbie. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Beth. Hi, Becky. Hi, Charlene. Hi, Rebecca. It looks like a few of you are saying this is going to be a new pattern for you. Guys, I haven't made this one in a while, so I've got my iPad pulled up here so I can follow along with the ebook. I kind of have most of it memorized, but I have the ebook here to keep me on track. All right, it looks like you guys are all seeing me and hearing me. Good. Oh, hey, Belinda. I haven't seen you in a bit. All right, awesome. So, okay, I'm going to find the pattern really quick, you guys. And I'm sorry, I was running a little behind. Otherwise, I would have had there it is. I did run up into my attic really quick, you guys, a little while ago and get a couple examples of this pattern out for you so that I could show you, because this pattern, the Victoria pattern, what we're doing today, has like a few different ways that you can make it, and it can look totally different with these variations. And the variations are all included with the pattern. Scroll forward. Okay. I'm just going to pop this up here in front of me. How are you guys today, by the way? I want to make sure this is not in the way. Okay, I think I'm off screen here. Okay, awesome. So I wanted to just do a quick shout out to one of our OGs, Georgianne, who for some reason she's on these lives, but I can never see her comments, and we've been trying to figure out why. But Georgianne, if you're here, I promise you that I'm not ignoring you. I just wanted you to know that I can't see your comments. I'm gonna be looking for you though in the chat. Okay, so guys, there's a couple different ways that you can make this pattern. I'm going to be doing a more, like, probably the most simplified version of it, the version that we teach in the ebook. However, there's a lot of variations, and we have bonus videos that come with the pattern that show these variations. And I just wanted to show you a couple of them because they're really, really cute. So first of all, a basic version, like what I'm going to be doing today, is this. Okay, so it's like there's an underlayer of fabric on the bottom, and then we have some little spokes coming out from the center, and then just a couple layers of basic triangles around the outside. We're going to be doing this today with different fabrics than this one, but there's also a version like this where I called it like the full Victoria, because instead of a base layer where you've got the underlayer peeking out, it's just piece after piece after piece all the way around, which just creates a more full look. And what's neat about this too is you can make it scrappy, you can like mix up your fabrics, whatever you want to do. And then this example also shows the fancy band, which is also one of the bonuses that comes with this pattern. We're not going to be covering this today because it takes a little bit of time, but this is what it looks like. And there's some snow on this from my Christmas tree. That's what you're seeing there. So that's one, another one of the bonuses. Here's another variation of that full look. You can see how different it looks with different fabrics. And then just to make, like, for another example of a full variation, this is we did this for a Christmas Club ornament a while back. This is just a whole bunch of different tonal fabrics. It looks really neat. And then we added an extra layer around of the basic triangles. So it almost has like a poinsettia vibe, which is pretty cool. And then last but not least, Actually, I have a couple more examples here, but this is also the Victoria pattern, believe it or not, except for it's done on a disc. Done on a disc, and then there's no outer triangles. So we made it into a peppermint. Very simple variation of this pattern. And this is also, you guys, included in the pattern. So it's a lot. And I saw a couple of you saying that you bought the pattern last night when we first started talking about it. It comes with the ebook, the video, and then all those bonus variation videos. And it's only $7. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Gosh, did I forget to put a link to the pattern in the description? I may have. Well, I might have to grab that if I didn't do that. But yeah, if you want to like learn all those different variations, it's definitely worth it. $7 is like kind of a steal. So let me catch back up a little bit. Oh, and here's the fabrics I'm going to be using today. I went into my own stash today. One of my hairs. And I saw these. I was looking for like spring and Easter, but then I saw these and I was like, oh yeah, we're going to use these. These are super pretty. Let me back up, catch up on some chat, and then we will get going. Ooh, Tammy's got 4 pounds of pins. You're going to be busy. Diane said hi to all my new besties that I've never met. Hi, Charlotte. Hi, Linda. Hi, Stephanie. Rebecca said, I bought the pattern last night. Thank you, Rebecca. Hey, Carmen. Roseanne said, never made this one, so I wasn't sure how to pick my fabrics, just going with it. This one is really forgiving, Roseanne. One of the other examples that I had here that I didn't pull out just yet is, this is kind of a basic variation, but it looks different because I layered green on green. So it almost looks like that full kind of version, but this is what we're going to be doing today. You really can't go wrong. It's a forgiving pattern as far as how you layer and arrange your fabrics. And guys, look, these two are the same fabrics. We liked these fabrics a lot. We used a lot of these fabrics, but this is the full variation. This is the original variation, and there's a layer of glittery tulle underneath, which is where you're getting, hopefully you guys can see that sparkle. It's super, super pretty, but both variations, and you can see how they look a little bit different from each other. And of course, this one has the fancy band. So neat, right? Originally, when I first designed this pattern, my plan was to actually find a way to hang it from the side, which is where I was going with the band. And I wanted to kind of hang it from the side so it almost hung like a chandelier kind of thing. And I played around with that a little bit. It never really came to fruition, but that would be an idea, guys, if you ever wanted to try something like that, especially with that fancy band. Yes, new background today. I decided I was going to have fun with the backgrounds and just trade them out each day. Tammy said, I was working on a Trinity knot while I waited. I was so trying to like this pattern, but it's hard for me for some reason. The first time I made it, it was a little bit tricky too. And then once it clicked, it clicked. It was a lot easier. It's almost like you have to kind of wrap your brain around turning the ball in a different direction, you know? Hey, Jenny. Yeah, Rebecca said from sundress to long sleeves. It's cold in my house today. I don't know why. Well, you know what? It was cloudy out today, so it was chilly in here. Tammy said, I love the peppermint variation too, but tulle does not like me. I love the fancy band. The tulle can be a little bit of a thing sometimes. Hi, Marlene. Kathy said the fancy band is cool. Hi, Jeanette. Nancy said, I made the peppermint for ornaments for Christmas for relatives when the pattern came out. They loved it. That's awesome. It's a quick one. It's a good one for gifts because you can bang out a lot of them in a quick amount of time. Hi, Suzanne. Kathy said the peppermint is so cute. Awesome. Okay. I'm just kind of scrolling really quickly so I can get started. Nancy said I made a black version to replicate licorice instead of peppermint. Oh, that's a good idea. Hi, Sherry. Tammy said hanging from the side is what reminds me of a hot air balloon. Yeah, that's true. Chris said, this is great. I love a sale. Bought mine this morning. Thank you, Chris. And Nancy said I did that during one of the Christmas challenges. When we do the challenge every year, it's that 12 weeks of Christmas. Any of the patterns that are paid patterns, we put on sale for that week only. So it's a good time to grab some patterns. Karen said, I believe that I made this pattern many years ago. It's beautiful. Thank you, Karen. Belinda said, love the fancy band also. I got a little bit of wrinkles in my fabric. So I'm just going to start by laying down my first layer. And this is what's going to kind of show through those little slivers, those spokes that we're going to pop out from the center in just a second. This fabric is very pretty. It's old. It's an old Timeless Treasures line that I think is probably from, gosh, 2016, 2017, something like that. Timeless Treasures, and it's called, the line was called Essex. I doubt anybody will be able to find it, although maybe you would get lucky if you did a search. When I got it, I tried so hard to find it, to get more, and I couldn't. Where did we use? Oh no, it wasn't this line. It was a different line. I think I had bought samples of this thinking I could use it for a kit, and then I couldn't ever get any more in bulk. Hi, Kimberly. Kimberly said, hi, Ornament Girls. I'm home from vacation and back in my craft room. That's awesome. I hope you had a good vacation. Hi, Deborah. Deborah just finished the Beehive. Lots of pins. Yeah, that one is a lot. That one's a lot of pins. Thank you, Shirley. Hey, Debbie. Oh, we just got started, Debbie. Roseanne said, do you know when you will get more of the 3-inch with 8-line soft foam balls? We do have some. Is it showing sold out on the site? Let me fix that right now. Move my iPad. I got a lot going on here on my desk right now. I need a bigger table. Oh no, they're showing. I'll put the link in the chat for you. We do have them in stock. Okay, there you go, Roseanne. I just put the link for these in the chat. Linda said, finished my February angel today. Goes out in the mail tomorrow for my sister's birthday. Came out great. Oh, that's so nice. I hope she loves it. Okay. So, you guys, in the fabric list that I put in the description, it was 8 2-inch squares of fabric 2, and then 8 2-inch fabric squares of fabric 3. I actually am opting to do all one fabric, so I've got 16 of just one fabric. But you can, as I showed you guys earlier with some of these other ones, you can mix up your fabrics for this part, whatever you want to do. And you will see that in the bonus videos. And I believe even in the main tutorial, I probably talk about how you can arrange your fabrics. So I only, like, you can see my squares kind of like bubbling up a little bit and stuff, and that's fine. I'm gonna fix it after I get all of these spokes on, all these little slivers of fabric. Then I'm gonna go back and tuck, just kind of like what we do in the snow globe ornaments that you guys have seen me do a couple of times in these lives. I find it easier to fix bulges after I've got this layer. Nancy said, I received my Valentine and February birthstone angels today. Will be my project for tomorrow. It'll be a fun day. Roseanne said, oh good, I placed an order, but I'll place another one. Thank you, Stacy. Oh, you're so welcome, Roseanne. If you placed an order just today, they might be able to combine them if they haven't already sent out your first order. and possibly get you some money back for shipping. Dana said you've got the elegance going with those pretty fabrics. Yeah, these are pretty, aren't they? They've got just the littlest bit of metallic gold, which I don't know if is showing up very well in the camera, but it's super pretty. I think I need like a little something to set my... I'll grab a lid so that my ball doesn't keep rolling away from me every single time I go to get a new piece of fabric. Hi, Helena, and thank you for the hearts. Uh-oh. Here it comes. Oh. It's the daily howl, you guys. The daily howl. Did the picture show up? I popped up the picture of the dog. There it is. They didn't let me down today. Hi, Kat. We haven't been on very long at all, Kat. Thank you for the hearts for the puppies, guys. They are being loud. It's like they're making up for the past couple of days of not barking at all. Sherry said, I'm just going to watch tonight. I've been out of the house all day. A friend was having cataract surgery today and needed someone to take care of her. It sounds like you probably need a little bit of relaxation. That was very nice of you, though. I'm sure she appreciated it. Oh, thank you, Tammy. Tammy said, don't forget the thumbs up. I saw all those hearts. I very much appreciate them. Diane said, I love their smiles. Thank you, Robbie. Thank you, Nancy. Debbie said, hi, Stacy and everyone. I finally made it on time. So the center of this can get a little messy, and what I like to do is just give it a little trim as I'm going. And I just realized I left my other crane scissors. Maybe I'll use these little guys. These are teeny tiny. Sometimes I like to just keep trimming as I go. With this one, you're almost always going to have to use an embellishment in the center because you've got a raw tip at the center point, and there's just not much you can do about that. Every once in a while you can get it to look pretty neat, but yeah, I almost always stick an embellishment. Honestly though, this looks nice with an embellishment in the middle. You almost need one. Kathy said, love the pop-up picture. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and I just finally sat down and figured out how to do it. Diane said, my parrot's yelling back to the dogs. That's hilarious. Oh, Chris said my dogs joined in. Sorry for everybody who got their dogs started with that. I've been there because it's happened to me before on other people's videos. Cat singing. Yeah, Sylvia, they like to make themselves known. They're so spoiled. They think that they're the center of attention. They are the center of attention. They think they're supposed to be the center of attention all the time. Jeanette said, I love hearing the puppies. Kathy asked what breed they are. They are Portuguese water dogs, which no one's ever heard of before, so I totally understand if everybody's like, what? They get confused for doodles all the time. They look a lot like doodles. Okay, so here is where I'm gonna focus on just doing a little bit of straightening out. It's not very hard. You can just kind of push your bubbles up right up underneath of the bottom of those triangles. Kind of like what we do with the snow globe centers. Oh, Kathy said, can you show me where you're lining up this layer? I'm centering each of these slivers inside of a segment on the foam. My next layer is going to be triangles that I'm going to be starting between these slivers, and then I'm going to be lining their lines up with the lines. So start with your sliver layers lining up inside the segments, and you can just eyeball it. Just eyeball it centered inside those segments, and then that way you leave the lines free for the next layer. Diane said, hi Stacy, Anna, I'm so sorry I missed the howl because I love them. I'll watch again tonight. You never know. Sometimes they give us 2 in one night, Diane. Debbie said you live in the right place for water dogs. Do they swim in the ocean? No, we're inland, so they haven't really had much ocean, but like ocean experience. But I do live on a lake, and Vigo, the older one, he kind of would get in a little bit, and I kind of had him like trying to teach him to swim, but he's a little more afraid. He'll walk in slowly, and that's about all he'll do. But Ivy, I have to be careful with her because she will swim off. Like, she'll swim away from me, and it's scared me a couple times. I just worry because I haven't seen an alligator in my lake, but I have heard one before. And I mean, it's Florida. There could be an alligator in like a puddle of water somewhere. So I worry about that with the dogs. But I do have a pool, and Ivy just gets right in. I mean, I have to try to keep her out of it because sometimes I just don't feel like having a wet dog, but she loves it. If she goes in the back, she gets in the pool. Sylvia said, love that material. Thank you, Sylvia. I've had it for such a long time, and I was just I only have a little bit of it left, like a quarter yard, and I've been kind of like hoarding it. And then today I was like, this will be a good ornament to do with this fabric. Kat said, but I kind of like the bubbles. Give it a puff. That's true. Give a little texture, right? Alice said, oh, that is pretty. What pattern is it? This is the Victoria pattern. Did I put the link to this, you guys, in the description? I can't look at the description on my end after I'm live. I will grab it really quick. If I didn't put it in there, I'm going to be mad at myself because that was like one of the whole things that I was supposed to put in there. I'm popping it in the chat just in case I didn't. You're welcome, Kathy. Debbie said, I was driving, so I missed how you folded and did the slivers. I'm going to be doing a side 2 here in a few minutes. Oh, it's okay, Alice. All right, so for the rest of this, we're just doing basic triangles. Oops. And I think it's like an inch. I'm looking at my ebook, you guys. Like I said, it's been a little while since I made this. I think it's like an inch or an inch and a quarter or something like that. Yes, inch and a quarter. So I'm just doing a basic triangle, and we're going to measure out from the center. I'm going to stick a pin in the middle to help me measure consistently. Oh, okay. Thank you, guys. Debbie said, gorgeous fabrics, and did you say it was old, timeless treasures? Yes, and It's Essex. The name of the line is called Essex. Okay, so here I'm measuring from the center point, but I'm going between my slivers. And where you put your first piece here, in the ebook for the main version of the pattern, we put 1¼ inches. You could actually play with that. You just want to be consistent for all of these triangles. So if you wanted to bring it out a little further, you totally could. It just depends on how much of the slivers that you want to show. And I am going to be doing 2 layers. I'm going to be doing an outer layer of this larger floral print that matches. So I'm going to do the 1¼ inch because I want to fit 2 more layers here. If you are only going to do 1, which actually even just 1 still reaches the equator. So even just like this measurement would work for just the 1 layer. Belinda said those fabrics look awesome together. Thanks, Belinda. They're all part of the same set, so I definitely didn't do the coordinating here. This is one of those ones that measuring is kind of a necessity for this layer. Hi, Marge. Marge said, I'm here for the duration. You never know with these lives, right? They can go for like 2 hours sometimes. I'm only going to show a very small amount of this burgundy color or red color, and I'm going to make it a real skinny line showing when I go to put my final layer on. You could also do this layer with whatever you use as your base square, which is what, let's see, one of these. Did I lose one? Oh, nope. I was like, I think it rolled off the table. So for here, I used the same red on this layer as I did for that base square underneath. So it almost kind of creates like a continuation of the color that's underneath, and that makes a whole different look. So it's kind of, you know, you can play with that. You can really play with the arrangement of your fabrics. Debbie said, sorry, what patterns did you say you put on sale once in a great while? I'm not driving now, so I am more attentive. Forgive me. Well, of course, no need for forgiveness, Debbie. So it kind of just depends. We'll do sales every so often, but the main time that we'll do a sale on a pattern is during the Christmas challenge, which runs from September through December. We do like a 12 weeks in a row Christmas challenge, and every week we will do a new pattern. And we kind of start at the beginning doing like we get all of our fabrics and we do all 12 weeks in the same fabric so that by the end you have like a whole set of 12 ornaments that match. Well, during that, every week that we pick each new pattern, if it's a paid pattern, we put it on sale. That's generally when we do sales. I don't often do other sales. We do bundles sometimes, which is a little bit different. But I've done a couple sales just with you guys. Like I've done whatever we were talking about or working on. Like a couple weeks ago we did cutie pie, and I put the cutie pie pattern on sale during that time. The only people that knew about it was you guys. I didn't put it in an email or anything like that. And then the other time that we will put a pattern on sale is when we're just introducing a brand new pattern. Like sometimes once a month or so, we'll have like a brand new pattern available, and we'll put it for like 2 days. We'll put it for $7. The usual price is $10, which is still really not bad, you guys. They come with a lot. Bev said, love that fabric. I wish I could find more of this. There was more pretty colors in the line also. Hi, Jean. Rebecca said, I love how the same pattern can look so different depending on the fabric. For real. It's fun to play with that. Thanks for the hearts, you guys. You're welcome, Debbie. Tammy said the challenge is how I have filled out a lot of my patterns. It is a good way to like add extra patterns to your collection, and it's also motivating to do it during the challenge. What I have found is it'll kind of motivate people to try a pattern that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise tried. And then a lot of times you'll make a pattern that you thought, I don't really care for that one too much, but then you'll make it and like it way more than you expected. And I say that from experience because I've done that with some of our patterns. And I'm like, this isn't really my favorite. I say that all the time about the Prairie Point pinwheel. I didn't think I was going to like the Prairie Point pinwheel very much. And now it's like one of my favorites. I love to make that one. And another one that I found to be true for me and for a lot of you guys is the owl, the quilted owl, because it's so nichey. And like a lot of people are like, yeah, I love all the ornaments, but I don't really care about making an owl. And then they make it and they're like, this is so adorable. That's how I felt too. I was like, this is the cutest thing. I have like a new little owl friend sitting on my shelf. Debbie said, are all the patterns ebooks only? They are ebook and video. Is that what you mean? We have 3 printed patterns, and we're hoping to fill that out in the future. So I don't know if you meant like I don't know if you meant ebooks only as opposed to like printed, or if you meant video. But here, let me show you guys what's on this pattern page, because I think that is probably the best way for you to see exactly what you get when you buy one of these patterns. So, okay, this is the Victoria pattern. When you buy it, you'll get an email that gives you a link to this page. We have the video. You can see this video is broken into 7 parts. We try to chunk it up a little bit so that you're not having to like sit down and like download an hour-long video all at one time. So, all the different parts. And then you have an ebook. This one has the ball marking template right here on the page if you don't have a pre-line ball. And then we also have a planning sheet so you can plan out your colors. That's printable. But this one has a bunch of bonuses. So here's the how to create the full Victoria version, which is this that I showed at the beginning of this live stream. And then we also have, here's how to create the fancy band. That's the fancy band, same ornament. And you guys, when you like do this, it opens larger, so you can. I don't want to play myself though. X. Okay. And then this one also comes with our Christmas Club. I added the Christmas Club tutorial right to this whole pattern page, and this is how to make that peppermint on the disc, which has its own. This is the peppermint version, you guys, which is really cute. Very simple too. So you have a video showing you how to do that. Oh, and then we have the maple leaf variation that Tanya did because she's in Canada. So she made a maple leaf variation. So it's pretty neat. You get a lot. And then, yeah, hopefully that helped. Let me open the ebook back up because I'm using the ebook right now, you guys. Ebooks are very, very detailed. Oh gosh, the dogs are yipping again. That was more like that weird yip that Vigo does. It wasn't the howl. Tammy said Hobby Lobby had some teal and purple that was similar to the red and blue. I love the gold in it. I'll have to check that out. Hobby Lobby has kind of disappointed me lately in the fabric department, but maybe they'll step it up a little bit. Rebecca said, please remember to hit the like button. Stacy's been so kind to us. Let's give back to her. Thank you, Rebecca. That's nice of you. What in the world is going on with this piece of fabric? I want to see if I can like work out those wrinkles with the fold itself. These have been sitting on my shelf for a long time. Tammy said, I was just going to say I love the owl. He's just so cute. Belinda said, me too, Tamara. Thank you, Alice. Alice said the fabrics are amazing. Debbie said, Tammy, I bet that's the fabric I bought today at Hobby Lobby. It's kind of swirly with teal, blue, and purple and gold metallic. Huh. I might have to check it out. Rebecca said, I hope to get all the patterns eventually. Well, thanks, Rebecca. That will definitely keep you busy for a long time, wouldn't it? Linda said, I just looked through my patterns and I found I have the pattern. Happy day. That's awesome, Linda. This one's been around a long time, you guys. So if you have been an OG for a long time, I mean, the chances are really good that you have it. I can't remember when we first came out with this one, but it's definitely been 6-7 years at least, I think. Alice said, we're traveling, and as we stop here and there with our RV, we give away some of my ornaments along the way. That's amazing. What a cool thing to do. Diane said, thanks, pups. Wanted to hear you guys. That was like a little yip. It wasn't a full howl, but they gave us a little yip. I kind of almost wish I would have cut more of the blue for the outer layer. I feel like that might have been pretty, but oh well. I did this larger floral print for the outside. Beth said, Debbie, I have that fabric that you described. It's gorgeous. Catherine said, this is such a classy pattern. I agree. It is kind of classy. It's really not hard either, you guys. I mean, you saw it's right now I'm just doing basic triangles. We did the basic triangle fold yesterday for the whole ornament. The only thing that's different is those slivers in the center, which are not hard. And as long as you follow the lines, it is really easy to, or at least it's a lot easier. Uh-oh. Wow, they're active. Puppies. That's not the howl. That's like they see something. They see something out the window. Tammy said, Rebecca, I'm not missing too many. I'm kind of obsessed. It's a pretty good obsession, though. There's worse things in life. Marlene said, love the blue. Christy said, I finally got all my slivers done. I'm slow. I think it's kind of good to take your time on those. Get them spaced and even. That's what I was saying a second ago before Vigo interrupted me. The lines help you keep things even and spaced. Although it's not quite perfect. But look, you can also sort of nudge them a little bit. If it looks like you have a wider space, I might have to close my office door if these dogs keep going. I think they see something. Debbie, no, I sure don't. I wish I did. Debbie asked if I had this fabric in my shop. This fabric is from my stash and it's really old. I've had it. What year are we in? 2026? I've probably had it almost 10 years. because I want to say that I probably got it in 2016 or 2017. I remember it was in the early days of the club, because I was still buying retail fabric at the time, and I was just starting to open up some wholesale accounts and stuff. And I remember I bought this retail as a sample and then went back trying to get it wholesale, but I couldn't. Rebecca said, Tamara, I'm new to this, but I will get there. My husband loves what I've done so far and wants me to try more patterns. I love that. Rebecca, that's awesome that you have his support. I think that's great. Debbie said, Beth, I liked it so much I bought a couple yards. Gonna make a pinwheel. I might have to get over to Hobby Lobby, you guys. So one of the unfortunate things about this fabric is it's kind of a weird blue. Weird in a good way, but weird in the way that I had no ribbons that looked right with it. Like, I went through all my blue ribbon and I was like, nothing matches. So I pulled out some like burgundy color, and I thought maybe I could mix it with some like champagne gold or something like that for the ribbon. Blue would have been nice, and I would have liked to have pulled out some more of this blue, but not if it's not the right blue. So I didn't really say what I was doing, but for this layer I'm just putting each of these triangles on top of the layer that I already did, and I'm going like 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch away from the points of that previous layer. I just want a little bit of red to show through. I don't want a lot. You could back it off if you wanted more of this layer to show. You could totally back it off and leave more of that layer showing if you wanted to. You guys, I might have to close my door. I forgot I don't need this anymore either. Okay, 1 second. It's not gonna stop them from barking, but it might make it a little bit quieter. I think it's okay if they bark once or twice and it lasts 60 seconds, but if it's just constantly in the background, I feel like everyone who has dogs is going to hate me. It's going to be like the midnight howl in the 101 Dalmatians. Oh, I got a little behind in the comments. Kathy said, my one dog just heard them and they all went from front door barking. They all went to the front door barking. I'm sorry, Kathy. I'm laughing because I know exactly what that's like. And one of them starts and then it's like a whole thing. Beth said, Debbie, that's a great idea. I'll have to go grab more. Nothing like all of us enabling each other for more fabric, right? Debbie said, Alice, that is so sweet of you and kind. I agree. About the RV ornament gifting. Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca said that pups are fine. Tammy said, I just posted what I'm talking about and a daydream that I made from it on Facebook. Oh, okay, I have to go look. My husband became an OG for me so he could get emails and order things for me. Oh, that's amazing. He's made a few. I love that. Debbie said, the puppies are singing. What are the names of your four-legged children? They are Vigo and Ivy. Vigo is almost 6 now, and Ivy is almost 4. Tammy said hubby had carpal tunnel and cubital tunnel surgery. I've never heard of that one, the second one, last year, and the surgeon thought this would be great therapy for recovery. Wow, that's cool. I hadn't heard that. It seems like it would be. Just the moving and like using your strength in your hands to push the pins. Tammy also said, my cat is sitting outside the craft room door yelling, help. At least that's what it sounds like. I wish I could hear that. It's funny when cats talk. Kathy said, it's no problem. I think it's funny. You guys are very patient. Thank you very much. Diane said, that is not enabling. It's moral support for our fellow crafters. There is something about craft supplies. I've been building up my bead stash lately as I've been getting back into beading, and they're just so pretty, you know, like all the things, they're just so pretty. Threads, fabrics, beads, ribbon, all of it is so pretty. Robin said, when measuring, are you putting the pin or the edge of the fabric at the measurement? Robin, that's a great question because it makes a big difference. Right now you can see that I'm eyeballing and I'm putting the edge of the fabric, but I'm not really measuring at all on this layer. I'm eyeballing, and that's why. Whatever you do, whichever one you pick, do it for all of the pieces in that layer. That's the best way that I can say to be consistent. A lot of our patterns, you'll see that we're measuring where the pin goes, not the edge of the fabric. But again, we're doing that because it's easier to show you in like the ebooks and videos that way. But you could do it either way as long as you are consistent with it. Because the measurements themselves are less important than that consistency. So like for this one, I mean, yeah, obviously you can't go way off from those measurements, but like here when we went to put this third layer on, the red pieces, I went 1¼ inches from my center, but you could totally play with that and adjust it. If you wanted to go like 1 inch from the center, you would just have less of these slivers showing. You would just want to do the same thing all the way around. Jenny said, I had surgery in my left hand for arthritis, and this has been good for working the fine motor skills. That's great. Kat said, this one is super duper gorgeous. I love it. Thank you, Kat. I like it too. I think this is going to be really pretty with some, I'm thinking maybe some gold beads to decorate it. I've got my nice gold beads from Fire Mountain. I think that these would look really good. Debbie said thumbs up for Diane. For the not enabling comment. Thank you guys for the hearts. I love seeing the hearts go by, you guys. Thank you. Marge said, I posted pics of my ornaments on my Facebook page and everyone loved them. One friend said she would buy one if I made it with a Dashin dog fabric. The pet ones are popular, you guys. People love these with, and like if you did either just buying like a generic fabric, but also printing pictures on fabric. Thanks, Debbie. Debbie said thumbs up for Stacy, everyone. Thank you so much, guys. Diane said, Stacy Ann, this looks so elegant. Thank you very much. It came out cute. I like it. I'm kind of, I was sort of torn with the red. I didn't know if maybe I should have picked blue there. And I think blue would have looked good too, but I like the contrast of the red. It's kind of breaking apart the center from the outside. And I think with something in the center, maybe if I had like, I'm looking to see where my bead caps are. Oh, here they are. Sometimes I just can't wait till the end, you guys. I gotta see if, like, I gotta try something out. Like maybe something like a bead cap in the middle. I wish I had like, I have blue crystals, but they're darker blue. I don't know if that would work. I'm wondering, like, flipping it this way. That blue's not right, but maybe some kind of bead in the center. I wish I had all my little beads here on a little like rolling cart so I could roll the whole thing here underneath of the camera so you can help me pick stuff out, you guys. There's so much. And this isn't even everything from the shop yet. I'm still trying to flesh this whole little collection out. Maybe just the gold, maybe just the plain gold bead. Or actually we have the little champagne crystal beads. That might be nice. Maybe something like that. Maybe something like that, you guys. And then I can do the small gold beads like at the points. Yeah, I think maybe we'll do that. I'll set this aside so I don't forget. Robin said thank you. Debbie said I will have to try and find something comparable to that fabric. Thanks, guys. Oh, yes to the bead cap, Debbie said. Dana said that looks great. Nancy said so pretty. Jeanette said that's so pretty. Thanks, guys. A pearl pin would look nice. Yes, it would, Peggy. I have the one pearl pin that I did use in the center as the, you know, that might look good too. I definitely like to flip it upside down when using like a bead like that. I think it just looks a little bit neater. That could be really nice. Pretty, right? That's the right blue. The unfortunate thing is I think it's the only one I have. My other pearl pins here are not the same. Is this the same? Do I seriously have two? You guys, look, out of only a couple little pearl pins, I had two of the right color. That's amazing. Thanks, Peggy. Suzanne said in the middle, put the pin you used to measure with. Wasn't it blue? Yeah, Suzanne, I didn't even see your comment. That's so funny. Okay, you guys were on the same wavelength here. Diane said this ornament looks like a stained glass window. It sort of does, doesn't it? Tammy said you have a blue flat back rhinestone that's darker. I don't think I do, Tammy, but I like the blue. I think the blue was the right move. Sylvia said I have done the basic star with pictures of pets and also kids and grandkids. They make great gifts, don't they? Kathy said I love it. Catherine said that pin that you had in the middle to measure would be pretty. It's so funny. Thank you, Barb. Okay, guys, so we're done side one. Let's go ahead and do side two. Yeah, that pop of blue in the middle is very nice. Helps bring out this blue. Rebecca said, Diane, I was thinking the same thing. Patty said, Nick's watching with me, and he said, wow, more than once. Well, thank you, Nick. Peggy said, that's perfect. Yeah, it's meant to be. That was kind of crazy. I need to get more pearl pins. You guys, do you find like that the pearl, like there's not as many of the colors of pearl pins in the craft store that there used to be? Like back in the day, there was all kinds of colors, and there was also the metallic silver and gold. I know we've talked about that before. There's no more metallic silver and gold that aren't really crappy. Like there's some really crappy ones on Amazon, but they're not nice. They're not pretty. And there's also colorful ones on Amazon, but again, like the pearls break off real easy. Some of them are just really poor quality. Belinda said, well done, Suzanne. And Ginny said, the ornament gods were shining upon you. That's so funny. That is not very square. That square is not very square. So I can't see my lines very well anymore on the foam. I mean, you can a little bit if you lift up, but it's okay. You don't really have to. You can just take a look at side one and line it up with a sliver from the opposite side. And if you do that, then you'll know you are also in line with one of those segments. Marge said, yes, bead cap and the blue pin. Patty said he likes your center choice. Awesome. Appreciate the feedback, you guys. Thank you. Debbie said, also looks like a kaleidoscope. Yeah, it does. I agree. It really does have a kaleidoscope effect. Huh. I might have to take the bead cap out for a second because I keep nudging it and I don't want to wallow out the hole. So I will set this guy to the side for a second. Dana said, just spilled my pins. Time for my magnets. Be right back. Don't step on any pins, Dana. Belinda said, do you need to trim any fabric from side one with this pattern? No, I don't. And I actually, it's not very often that I do trim side one anyway. I only do if it's really overlapping a lot and it's just going to be in my way. But I do have a tendency to not trim too much from side ones. Definitely we'll have to do some trimming of the side two though. Yeah, the dogs definitely see something outside. Debbie said, oh, Dana, been there, done that. Spilling pins or beads. It's horrible with beads, especially small beads. They go rolling away and you can't find them. Peggy said, yes, to the lack of variety. Yeah, and you never know what you're going to get on Amazon. I have had no good luck on Amazon with pins. I think with almost any kind of pins. We exclusively, for these pins, the ones we're doing all the main pinning with, we exclusively use the Prim Dritz pins. It just makes such a difference. Hey, Gretchen. Gretchen said, hi, Stacy. Where on this site is the search button? I'm trying to find the pattern to buy. Gretchen, if you are on mobile, unfortunately, our search button has something wrong with it, and I need to fix it. And I honestly keep forgetting about it, so thank you for the reminder. However, If you go in the description under this video, the link to Victoria, the Victoria pattern is right here in the description. And I could also pop it into the chat again if you need me to. If you're not on mobile, I just assumed you might be since you didn't see the search button. But if you're not on mobile, it's up at the top menu at the very far right. Marge said, I found gold and silver pins at Hobby Lobby, but they are a dull color, not shiny. Yeah, like a lot of times the yellow will be like, I mean, the gold will be almost like a yellow. It's disappointing. Tammy said the bead cap with the pin looks like a little flower. Very pretty. It does definitely match the vibe, doesn't it? Peggy said, I love using pearl pins. It's just one step. I agree. I used to only use pearl pins. Like back a long time ago when I was first learning to make these, it was all pearl pins. I think I started using beaded pins and stuff, just trying to find alternatives to the pearl pins when they started getting harder to find. Because the gold and silver started disappearing a while ago, a long time ago. But still, you could still find them sometimes. And I remember that for a while, I couldn't find them anywhere else except Michael's. Michael's had their own brand of the gold and silver, and they had those for a few years. And now even those have seemed to have disappeared. Belinda said, here's the link for Victoria. Thank you, Belinda. I can't see when you guys post a link, but hopefully you guys can see Belinda's link. If not, I'll post it again too. For some reason, it won't show me when you guys post a link. Jenny said, my dog used to spill my pins on a daily basis. Drives me crazy. You gotta be careful too. Like if you're on a couch or something and you spill the pins, it'll make you afraid to sit on your couch. It's worse than stepping on a Lego. I think we got just one more to go. Catherine said, does Wawak have good decorative pins? I don't know. I don't know if they're what kind of decorative pins that they have. So that's a good question. They might be more like the utility type supplies, like the regular pins and U pins and things like that. But I'm not 100% sure on that. Linda said, never thought of turning the bead cap upside down. Great idea. I never used to do that, but Tammy kind of got me on doing that. She turns them upside down a lot and kind of cups the bead, and it's nice. Okay, let's go through and just unbubble a little bit. So I am being careful, you guys. I'm pinning low, but I also, we were talking about overlap a few minutes ago. I want to be able to trim off any of my excess here. So I'm not pinning way down here, because if I pin this down way down here, well, then it's going into side one and I wouldn't be able to trim it off. So I'm just keeping an eye on where I know that equator is. And then where I know that that equator is, that's where I try to keep my pin line. Gretchen said, thanks so much. And then also I'm on iPad. It might be not showing for you on the iPad. I wonder if it's showing. Let me look at here. I'm on my iPad too. So my search bar is showing on the iPad. Let me just show you where it is just in case. So here it's like, it's kind of hovering over top of the last option. It's not exactly in the right spot, but right there's the search bar in the upper right of the menu. But yeah, on a phone or anything smaller, it won't even show at all. I gotta try to fix that. Okay. I am gonna do just a little bit of trim of just these little tips here. They're not overlapping terribly just yet, but just to reduce a little bit of the bulk and get them out of the way. I always like to be really careful and only cut a little bit at a time, especially with a busy fabric like this. You want to make sure you're not accidentally cutting into your side one fabrics. And with these busy patterns, it can be a little bit of a thing to make sure you're cutting the right fabric. Okay. Okay, Christy, oh wait, I skipped a couple, sorry. Nancy said I use a Sharpie marker to color the heads of the pins to match the embellishments I'm using. That's a good idea, Nancy. I've heard of a few people doing that. Oh, Christy said the links don't show for us either. Okay, I wonder why. I don't have any restrictions on the chat. Like when I'm setting up all the live streams, it'll give me options to set restrictions, but I haven't had any need to do that yet, so I haven't. But it might just be an overall YouTube thing. Let me grab the link again, which I think I already have copied. Yep, I do. Okay, here's the link for the Victoria pattern again, you guys. And it's also in the description. Oh, Tammy and Marlene are not, you guys aren't far from each other? That's cool. Peggy said Hobby Lobby used to have a better selection of beads, but they have really cut back on their selection. And Michael's too. I used to get the silver and gold there also. Did I already measure this? Let me just grab that pin, the handy blue pearl pin that happens to be the exact perfect color. So now guys, obviously I can't see my lines hardly at all, but I can just look at the triangles from the opposite side and then line up the center of those triangles with the center of the opposite side's triangles. And here I'm really going to start overlapping a lot. So I'm keeping my pin high up on that triangle. It looks awkward, but I'll just keep trimming this back as I go. I usually like to do 4 triangles and then trim, and then my second 4 and trim. Because I know that right about here is going to be my center where I'm going to put my band. Barb said Crafty Elephant on Etsy has some very good gold and silver metallic. I have a lot of colors from her. I got them a few years back during my first ornament binge. Crafty Elephant is where we used to get all of our sequin pins too, our gold sequin pins, and she hasn't had those in a long time. But she's got a lot of other pretty pins, and I totally forgot about that. She's very nice too, you guys. Okay, Beth also said we can't post links in the chat. Yep, Belinda, can always paint the pins to match your project. Maybe you can buy a bunch of those cheap, ugly ones and then paint them. Although the problem with them is they break easily too, so that's not good. You don't want to go through all the trouble of painting them and have them pop off. Tammy said, when I first started making these, I bought pins from Amazon and almost immediately spilled them, which is when I discovered they were aluminum and not magnetic. The Amazon ones, yeah. We love the Prim pins. I mean, you get ones of every once in a while that don't have a point or something, but for the most part, they're consistent. They're almost always sharp. They're very nice. I mean, when you're just pinning, it makes a huge difference. I've bought cheap, crappy pins before, and I've used them, but I don't enjoy it. Okay, Tammy said that Wawak does have some Dritz ball head pins, but they're mixed colors. Those are still the nicest ones. Sylvia said they do have pearl pins. Got some when I ordered my straight pins. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Gretchen said, I'm working on finishing a snowman ornament. People love them as gifts. That's another adorable one. We were talking about the owls. The snowmen are adorable too. I have a blustery snowman sitting on my dining room hutch because he's just so cute for winter. Gretchen said, nope, too small, I guess. No problem, though. I grabbed it from here. Okay, thank you, Gretchen. I'm glad you were able to get there. I gotta fix that search bar. Tammy told me about it a while back, and I just keep forgetting. Sylvia said the links show up for me on my phone. Oh, really? Maybe it just depends on the device. Linda said, what size beads do you get at Hobby Lobby? Are you asking me or everyone, Linda? I haven't bought beads at Hobby Lobby in a long time. But I get all sizes of beads. For these, like these ones that I'm going to put in the corners here, I think these are 3mm. But then our crystals they're bigger, but they're flatter, and they're really good size too. These are 5, actually. The width of them is 5mm, but they're flat. They're flattened. So those work really well too. It really depends on the bead. Hi, Nancy. Oh, Jeanette said, or you can use fingernail polish. That's a good idea too. And that seems like it'd be super permanent. Oh, Nancy said the same. I've heard some use nail polish to paint the pin heads. See, this is what's awesome about crafters. We make it work no matter what. You guys are awesome. Diane said, thank you for the info, Sylvia. Okay, so here I'm going to do a trim. I can take this out too. Just to get all this out of my way. And it'll help really delineate where that equator is as well. Tammy said, I only buy from Wawak now. You guys, I know I'm not saying that name right, but I don't know how to say it. I have also gotten boxes that had sewing needles mixed in. That's happened occasionally to me too, where some random kind of weird needle was mixed in. Dana said, vacuumed for good measure. Now I need to catch up. I think that was probably a good idea, Dina. Oh, you know what? I took that pin out, and no, I'm not done this layer. Derp. We got 4 more to go here. I've tried to eyeball this layer before, and I'm telling you, I can't do it. If I try to eyeball this layer, it doesn't look right. Peggy said you can find a variety of shapes and sizes in the jewelry making department. The bead aisle is one of my favorite aisles of the craft store, you guys. I do love the bead aisle. My last couple batches of beads that I've gotten online. And I haven't purchased from like Hobby. I haven't been to Hobby Lobby in a while. So I need to go check out some of their stuff. Linda said they don't say the millimeter in Hobby Lobby. Yeah, that was the problem even with like a lot of the places. I remember it's like if you got something, if you're looking for a specific size, but also if you get something that you really like and you want to get more of it, it makes it it's really hard to search and find more of it. So sometimes it's just easier to like find online if you know it's what you want. It's just, it is nice to browse in person. So like seeing them in person is nice. It's definitely for the best. But yeah, they keep all their secrets close to their chest when you're buying in the store. Can't figure out who made them, where it came from, what size, what color, like a name. Diane said, great idea with the nail polish. We're getting there, you guys. Almost done this layer, and then we've only got one more layer to go. This one would have been okay, I think, with the red layer being the last layer. Which I think I did on one of those ones I showed you guys where I only did one. Yes. Our Christmas club, where we only did one outer layer. So that's what it looks like if you just do the one outer layer and don't double them up. But yeah, you can do, this one is 2. You can really play with it. You guys, I think tomorrow I'm going to do my birthstone angel. We were saying that yesterday, and I think I want to do her tomorrow. And then I've got a little pile of stuff to finish that we can work on Friday. Debbie said if you go to the store and pins are in inches, just ask Google to convert it. Yeah, you can do that. Sometimes they don't say it all, though. Peggy said Joann's was my go-to for beads. I sure do miss Joann. Me too. Gretchen said, I'm scared to start my Christmas club ornament. No, Gretchen, don't be scared to start a Christmas club ornament. Gretchen, but you've made a few ornaments now, right? You did a bunch of the pinwheels and stuff like that. So yeah, you've done these before. So don't be scared. You could always do a practice run with scraps. with the Christmas Club tutorial, like follow the tutorial, but use your own scraps if you're like worried about messing up the kit fabrics. You could maybe do that. I've heard of people doing that. But still, you shouldn't be scared. You could always unpin. You can always unpin and start again. Jeanette said, I miss Joanne's also. Mine was 5 minutes from my house. I feel like maybe my brain or my heart or something hasn't fully accepted the fact that Joanne's is gone. It's just such a nostalgic thing. It's like I can't accept that it doesn't exist anymore. So for these guys, I'm going to have to really pin high to make sure that I don't overlap into side one too much. But I'm looking at my side one triangle to make sure it's lined up. And I'm basically going to keep my pins right at the same line that the red ended. And that's how I can kind of see where my equator is. Tammy said, I hate seeing the big empty Joanne stores. I know. Doesn't it feel like there's just so much of that anyway in the past 5 years? Empty storefronts, empty malls. The world has changed a lot in the last 5 years. Dana said, now the Ornament Girl is my go-to for embellishments. Well, I do appreciate that, Dana. Thank you. Robbie said it looks beautiful. Thank you, Robbie. Tammy said, I do a practice run almost every month. I love that there's a cutting guide. I love hearing that. Thank you for letting me know. I kind of wonder if like people do practice runs before the kits. I mean, I know with like the digital club, you know, obviously you're doing them with your own fabrics and stuff, so you could do as many practice runs as you wanted to. But I've wondered with the kits, like if people do a practice run, and I feel like sometimes the barrier to get started on the kits is being afraid of messing it up, and I worry about that because I don't want people to be afraid to mess it up. Linda said, have you previewed the February OG ornament? Yes. The February OG ornament is the, let me see if I can pull it up for you on the blog. Right here. The Lucky Star. So this is it. And there's a couple other views of it. Super cute. It's St. Patty's theme for the club, but you could totally do this with any fabrics. It's a very quilty with the little square in the center. You could either do a plain fabric in the middle, or you could do anything with a little tiny print or anything like that. A little heart would be cute too if you wanted to do this in Valentine's fabrics. Tammy said I was heartbroken when AC Moore closed, but Joanne really depressed me. It is depressing. Nancy said the old Joanne store in my town is converting to a TJ Maxx, is what is the rumor. Well, you know, TJ Maxx is pretty fun. Me and my daughter Abby, we love going into TJ Maxx. It's not going to replace Joanne or anything, but that's a pretty decent thing to fill the store anyway. I like TJ Maxx because you never know what you're going to find in there. It's pretty fun. Gretchen said, yes, I've made over 20, but mostly the same ones. Maybe do a practice run of it, Gretchen, with some scraps. Chris said those are some sharp scissors. Yeah, and they're old too. Well, no, actually, these are only a couple years old now. I finally replaced them. I had another pair that I had for a long, long, long time before I finally got another pair. They will last forever though. Jeanette said Michael's is not the same as Joann's, even though they're trying. I always liked them for different reasons. I always, felt like Michael's was stronger with like ribbon and things like that. And of course, Michael's always had like art stuff, more art stuff than Joann's did. But yeah, now that it's like, there was no, like, you didn't have to make a choice though, you know what I mean? Because they were both available. Now that Joann's is gone, I'm like, there's so many things I miss about Joann's. And obviously the fabric thing being the main thing. Sherry said a Dollar Tree went into my Joann building. Not quite as exciting. Robbie said I do lots of practice runs, lots of help from all of us. Kind of funny. I feel like I'm skinnier on this side and a little wider on this side, but hopefully when I get the band on there, that'll camouflage it. And these fabrics are pretty busy, so Nancy said I do practice runs too, and I also love that the fabric names are listed on the pattern page. Yes, I am glad you brought that up about the pattern, the fabric names of all the different patterns that we use. It's like, you don't have to make them with those fabrics, any of those patterns that we come up with. It's like we did the club kit in that, and it's an option. But I think a lot of you guys have appreciated just knowing what they're called if you did want to try to find them, or maybe make a second one or whatever. Kat said 3 cheers for the Irish and I can hardly wait. Linda said I didn't see it on the website. Linda, if you go to here, I'm going to send you this direct page. It's on the blog, and it was also on Facebook. I think it might be a pinned post on Facebook. But here's the blog page where we have that picture. Nancy said, my daughter used to work at AC Moore. I spent a lot of time there. It was sad to see them go. I remember that. Now that went away a while back, right? Like that's been gone for a long time. I think that was more like up north. I remember when I was younger, when I lived up north. Tammy said, talking about other fabrics, I did the Love Struck in greens. It looks so pretty. Oh, did you put that on Facebook? That's a neat quilty pattern too. The Love Struck pattern. You could definitely do that in any fabrics. Peggy said, I found the perfect finishing Friday project when I was cleaning out my craft room. I have a bunch of basic stars in various unfinished forms that I used for demonstrations I did years ago. Peggy, that's a great idea. You can work on those while I'm working on whatever I'm working on. on Friday. We can do that together. Gretchen said, oh, love that. Robbie said, most times I'll do a practice run and try not to be hard on yourself and try not to compare yourself to others. Do your thing. Robbie, that's really good advice. Thank you for that. I mean, it's honestly, it's the mistakes that teach you to get better, as cheesy as that sounds, but it's the truth. When you do mess up, because it happens, that is exactly what teaches you what to do to change it and make it better. I was thinking about that with the garden the other day, because on Saturday I basically spent the whole day ripping out everything that was dead. But it was also interesting because some plants that I thought for sure would die are really in great shape now. And I'm like, wow. So yeah, I lost a bunch of stuff, but I also learned what is really hardy and what I will plant more of. So that was great, you know, even though it was sad to rip out all the dead stuff. And there was a lot of it, a lot of dead stuff. Because I was super depressed for like 2 days over all the things that died in my yard. Gretchen said, I'm cutting red, white, and blue fabric right now. Practice is a great idea. Yep. Sylvia said, when will the February OG ebook be out? The 15th. It'll be out the 15th. And we ship on or around the 15th also for the kits. Tammy said, what saves me is that I'm 2 hours from Amish country and have a very adventurous and understanding family. That's awesome. Tammy, my mother-in-law lives up in Quarryville, pretty close to Amish country. I mean, whenever I've driven up there, we see all the carts and stuff. Are you anywhere near Quarryville? Oh, I don't know why I'm going off screen to do this. Belinda said our big craft supply store in Australia is Spotlight. The store is only found in the AU, New Zealand, and Asia. Yeah, I've never heard of that. Okay, you guys, we're ready for a band. I have all this extra pieces, you guys, because I cut enough for 2. I was going to do a practice run. Since we're talking about practices, I was going to do a practice run because I hadn't made this pattern in a while, but I never got to it. And I was like, well, we're just going to pull up the ebook and see how it works. But honestly, I think it went pretty well. Like once I started, I was remembering. So now we'll cover up all the ugly stuff. Oh, I gotta back up a little bit. I'm getting a little behind in the comments. That's a lot of excess. That's like a whole piece I can use on a different ornament. Let me back up just a tiny bit. Suzanne said, Gretchen, watch the video first all the way through. It usually helps. It makes me think, oh, that's easier than I thought. Suzanne, thanks for saying that, and that is good advice. That's kind of what I like to do first too, is just to see it, like to get a visual, and then following the ebook is easier after that. But it's nice to just see it happen. Like even doing these lives, I think has probably helped get some of you guys over the hump to see like, oh, that's not nearly as difficult as what I thought it would be. Oh, it jumped again on me. Tammy said the VIP club is the 15th, Christmas club is the 1st every month, and usually the preview of the other is shown the day the other one comes out. It is kind of how it's been working out, isn't it? Sherry said, I bought the Victoria pattern last night. I did not see it on the pattern checklist. Oh, really? I'll have to look into that. We're trying to think of a way to redo that page because it is like a pain. That page is like really slow loading. Sarah has been kind of working a little bit on how we can redo that page. And so maybe we can make sure everything gets added. Tammy said, I haven't put the green Love Struck on Facebook yet. I need to take pictures. I can't wait to see it. Catherine said they had one in Fort Myers, but they closed also. Liked them better than Joann's. Oh, okay. Peggy said, do you mean Lancaster County? I'm about 2 away also. Yes. That's where my mother-in-law is also. Catherine said AC Moore. Yeah, I figured that's what you were talking about, Catherine. Tammy said the first couple of times I did a Polar Star, I had the worst time getting the line straight. It's much easier now. Sometimes it just takes practice. Shirley said, this is so beautiful. Thank you, Shirley. Dana said, Stacy, do Floridians still do colored gravel front yards where you live? We couldn't grow grass and put decorative gravel over asphalt for our front yards. Very pretty. I saw that a lot when I lived further south in Florida, where it was way hotter. Like I lived in Port Charlotte, but we saw that in like the Fort Myers area, Port Charlotte and Punta Gorda and stuff like that. Up here where I am now, it's definitely more grass and trees and stuff in Central Florida. But yeah, in Southern Florida, yes. Sylvia said, Sherry, same for me. Shirley said, I live in Amish country. My grandparents were Amish. Oh, it's so beautiful up there. Tammy said, I don't recognize the town name. I used to be in Delaware, about 2 hours south of Lancaster, but we moved to Ohio last summer, and I'm about an hour and 45 minutes away from Millersburg, Ohio, where Zinks is. Zinks is a fabric warehouse. I got some Riley Blake prints there last summer for $5 a yard. Oh, that's good. Gretchen said, I'm in the heart of Amish country. I grocery shop at their stores a lot. My mother-in-law does too. She's always shopping at a place called BB's, and she gets some really good deals. Tammy said, I also like Miller's Dry Goods. Oh, Shirley said, I go to Zinks all the time. I live close to Sugar Creek. You guys are kind of close together. Shirley said Zinks is 10 minutes away. Oh, Peggy said, I know where Quarryville is. My dad grew up in Elizabethtown, PA, and my grandfather was a member of the Groundhog Lodge in Quarryville. That's what my stepfather-in-law is a member of that. And I've been there before. Denise said, I have used Pilot Gold marker to color the tops of pins to match a project. I believe Pilot also makes a silver version too. It's more of a paint than a marker, and it even writes on glass. Pilot Gold marker. I'll have to look into that. Maritza said, hi everyone. Late have my grandsons and celebrating my husband's birthday. Well, happy birthday to your hubby, Maritza. Catherine said Sanibel Island has a lot of yards with gravel. Kimberly said that's a very pretty ornament. Thanks, guys. Belinda said don't forget to like. Only 19 so far. We have 81 concurrent viewers right now. I wish I hadn't seen that. I'm going to get nervous. That's a lot. So, guys, I'm going to do the bow. I'm going to do a bow. I'm thinking I'm going to go more with this one because these are a little bit more bright. I think that's a little bit too bright. You know what? I'm pulling my ribbon over here. This one might be better. That one's better, I think. And then maybe with a gold or a champagne. I don't want it to be too much. Which gold, you guys? The lighter or the darker? Robbie said, yes, these sessions are amazing. Thank you, Robbie. Tammy said there's a Zincs in Lancaster too, and one in Indiana. Sugar Creek is beautiful. It's closer to where my mom and sister live. I'm further west. Thank you guys for the hearts. Linda said, I see 72 likes. Barb said my page says 63. Well, those are better. Nancy sees 72 as well. You guys, thank you so much. Now that's pretty good. 72 likes. Thank you guys. Darker. Suzanne said darker. Barb said darker. Debbie said darker. Tammy likes the lighter. And then we have Kat darker, Peggy darker, Linda darker. Sherry said darker. It matches the gold in the fabric. Belinda said it's funny, 71 now. So we just needed a refresh. All right, we have mostly darker, votes for darker, so I'll try that first. And I'll throw in my, let's see, where's this from? This was like old Walmart ribbon, I think. From, I don't even know how long ago. I'll do the first one before I cut more and see if I like it. Tammy said, I saw 9 until I hit reload. Now it shows 72. That's a big jump. All right, we got darker, 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 darker. Cat's singing. I wish I had a blue that matched. There wasn't even anything close. You know, it's one of those things where it's like the wrong blue was just wrong. Like turquoise, like Bermuda blue or something like that. It's like, no, that's not going to work. I think this will look pretty good when I mix up. When I add a couple of more bows on top, I think that'll be okay. So that first one I cut 7 inches. Now I'm gonna do 6.5 inches. 6.5, and then 6. I have little bits of fabric from cutting the centers out, and all stuck to my clothes, you guys. Stuck to my sweater and stuck to my pants. Nancy said it's up to 74 on my phone. Thanks, you guys. Peggy said the Groundhog Lodge in Quarryville claims that it's the original, and Punxsutawney Phil is just a copycat. What is Punxsutawney Phil? I don't know what that is. Besides being a copycat, of course. Robbie said darker. Diane, have an awesome night. Oh, Kat is singing Karen Carpenter. I feel like I'm just picturing your house, Kat, is just like this very musical, happy, singing all the time. Yes, Tammy, it is. Tammy said, isn't it normal to have fabric scraps stuck to you? We have a new person working in our shop the last week or so. It's actually Tammy's sister. Because we were shorthanded. I was telling you guys before that one of our girls has been out for a few weeks now. And she said she got home, I think it was last night. I was talking to her today, and she said she got home last night and there was a pin stuck into her shoe. It wasn't going straight into where it was poking her. It was like sort of stuck in on an angle. And she brought it all the way home with her from the shop, not even knowing it was there. That's how we roll here in the shop. You usually take home something. That just wasn't going in right. I have to readjust this. Honestly, the only one I'm kind of unsure about is the solid garnet. But I'm kind of limited on choices here, I think. I could just do the gold and the glittery garnet. The dogs are barking again, you guys. No, I haven't. I haven't heard of Phil. Dana said my vacuum is always full of fabric bits and pins. Marge said, Diane, my grandmother used to say God willing all the time. Peggy said he's the groundhog that you see on the news all the time. Oh, I didn't know he had a name. Well, that makes a lot more sense now. Kat said, oh, that's the rat that used to see if there's 6 more weeks of winter. He's the decisive groundhog. I personally think that we need to eat him after this year. Okay, we need hanger string, which I have right here. The gold, the trusty gold May Arts is good for this, I think. And actually, I don't have another of those blue pins because another pin and bead cap would be perfect on the top too. But I think what I'll do is I'll just do a gold bead and a bead cap. We'll save the precious 2 pearl pins for the front and back. You guys, the dogs are literally just going crazy. I hope it's not too loud. Marge said, Kat, we played that at our wedding. Okay, just have to give them a little appearance because they are howling. Kat said, like, duh. Little rat. If it's February 2nd, it'll always be 6 more weeks of winter. Duh. Kat also said, Marge, such a beautiful song, and wow, Karen's voice. None like it. Miss her voice. Marlene said white ribbon would look good. You know what? You're right. It would. I might have to play with that a little bit, you guys. Maybe on finishing Friday, I can go back and play with adding... Yeah, a white in place of this red might be the ticket because it might brighten it up a little bit. I like this one. This one's perfect. The gold is perfect. But the red is just a little off. So yeah, maybe we'll do that, you guys. I got a little behind again, you guys. I'm so sorry. Robbie said that's so pretty. Thank you, Robbie. Nancy said, when I started doing these ornaments, I was told to cut the fabric at 2.5 inch squares. My best friend and I would craft together. So she passed and I got all of her craft supplies, including tons of pre-cut squares. So yeah, the original way of doing these did use squares, and you still could. I mean, definitely. It's not my favorite way to do it for the regular basic star. However, a lot of our patterns do use 2.5 inch squares and like different size squares. So 100% you could still use those. Yeah, I think changing out the solid red is what is needed here. And then I was kind of feeling like I might want to do beads on the corners, but I actually don't know now. Where's CJ, guys? Where's the bling queen? So I was thinking this before, but I don't know. Is that too much? You guys tell me what you think. Let me back up a little. I'm behind. Catherine said, Phil's wife, Phyllis, says he's a liar. Barb said, we always hope for 6 more weeks of winter because spring in Wisconsin is rarely that early. Marge said, Cat 59, or Cat Law 59. So Cat, yes, beautiful voice, gone too soon and too young. Karen said, hi, I'm new here. How often are you live? Welcome, Karen. So I've been going live almost every weekday, and it's usually been in the evening. Between 4 and 6 is when I'm usually jumping on. But all the replays are up too, if you'd like to see any of those. But Monday through Friday, and welcome, welcome. Carmen said, that sounds serious to me, the dog's barking. I know, I'm kind of actually wondering what's going on. I'm like, because they haven't stopped. And it always makes me worry that like they're seeing something in the backyard, but whatever they're seeing isn't getting scared off. So Peggy said the groundhog from Coreyville is Octoro Orphe. Is that the name? That's the name of the groundhog? I know I didn't say that right. From the Slumbering Groundhog Lodge. There are actually a lot of them across PA. Okay. Tammy said, I'm sitting here with a box of Dritz ball head pins. Some of them are blue, ironically. I'm looking for pink. I have one pink. Of course, we need to do a trade. Do I have pink here? Where did I put my little thing of pins? I don't have pink. I probably have pink somewhere, though. Debbie said, welcome, Karen. Nancy said, so my question is, what would you suggest I do with them? So what did you say it was? 2.5 inch squares? You could still do basic stars the same way that you learned how to do them. The basic star, you guys, the original way, and this is only a 2 inch square, but the way the original way was done is you would find the center and then unfold and pin through the center. Let me grab a phone. You would pin through the center, and then here's how you would create the triangle. You'd pin it on. I didn't get the center very well, but you'd pin it on like this, fold it over itself, and then create your triangle. Now, the thing with this is you see you don't have as much reach as by using the rectangle, so you would have to keep your layers a lot closer together, but you could still do that. You would just have to have your layers of triangles a lot closer together. But yeah, I would have to go through like our patterns and see what uses 2.5 inches. This Victoria pattern used 2 inches. You could cut them down just a little bit and use them for something like this. Other than that, you guys, anybody here remember any of the patterns that we have that uses 2.5 inch squares? I know we have them. I just can't think of, I got a gnat. I just can't think of which patterns right off the top of my head. Kat said, okay, what was everyone's wedding song? Of course you don't have to say, Mine was Endless Love by Lionel Richie and Diana Ross. That's a good question, Kat. So mine was Faithfully by Journey. Rebecca said, welcome, Karen. Sylvia said, can't hear them with the door closed. Okay, it's kind of good because they're like doing an annoying bark. It's not like a cute, 30 to 60 second howl. It's like an annoying constant bark. Let me scroll back. So Maritza said, I saw the teal and purple at Hobby Lobby last night, but I was in such a hurry that I couldn't find coordinating fabric. You're going to have to go back, Maritza. Belinda said, we were DJs, Kat. Kat. I have a list with hundreds of wedding first dance songs. Dana said she would tell you to bling away. Yes, she would. Kat said, I was married before DJs were a thing. We had to hire bands. Brian said the beads look good. Thanks, Brian. Debbie said, Maritza, I bought a purple fabric that drew the purple out in the teal, purple, and gold metallic. It was a perfect match. Night, Catherine. I hope you have an awesome rest of your night. Robin said, just got home from girls' night. Ooh, that sounds fun. Tammy said, I think the Twisted Snow Globe uses 2.5-inch squares. I think you might be right. Belinda said, Kat, I have lots of favorite songs, although Endless Love is awesome. Peggy said, my reception was at home, no live music. Kat said, Belinda, so because the band wasn't Lionel and Diana, I bought a record player and a 45 and had the band hold their mic to the speaker to fill the room with the song. I've got a pin showing right here. A pinhead peeking out from my sliver. If that happens, you guys, by this point, you can usually just pull it out because the other layers are holding the pieces down. Dana said, Melinda said, great idea. Dana said, Magnet and Steel was mine. Diane said, Endless Love was my first wedding song. Kathy said, We've Only Just Begun by Karen Carpenter. Belinda said, the bling looks awesome, Stacy. Thank you. Nancy said, mine was My Best Friend by Tim McGraw. Love that. Robin said, I eloped, so no song. Eloping is romantic. Marge said, yes, Peggy, my reception was at home also. Mom made my dress. Hubby wore the suit he wore for prom and then wore it for interviews. We had no money. I get that, Marge. Phil said, stunning ornament. Thank you. Sylvia said, definitely a beautiful ornament. Yeah, it's still pretty. The red is the only thing to me that's a little bit off, or like garnet or whatever this is, but I think that can be easily swapped out. Nancy said, same for me, Robin. Rebecca said, Keeper of the Stars by Tracy Bird. Tammy said, our whole wedding was Cinderella themed. Before that was a thing. Our first dance was So This Is Love. I spent months calling Disney theme parks trying to find a cake topper. That's awesome. Diane said, my second wedding, I sang Danny's song as I walked down the aisle. No way! Carmen said, my wedding song, At Last. Ida, am I saying that name right? I don't know that song. Etta James. Nancy said, my husband and I were married at the South Dakota Motorcycle Rally. My wedding song was The Sound of Motorcycle Exhaust. That's great. Kathy said, the ornament is beautiful. Nancy said, that ornament is beautiful. Thanks, guys. Christy said, Nancy, was that Sturgis? You guys, we're about done. We went another good 2-hour live stream tonight, you guys. Tomorrow we'll do the Amethyst Angel, and then Friday we'll maybe change the bow on this one and do some finishing. I'm gonna go eat and go to bed. I don't know about you guys, but it's getting close to bedtime for me. Thank you for the hearts. Alice said, I am visiting with GD, what does that stand for? Is that granddaughter? Is that what that stands for? Nancy said beautiful ornament. Peggy said I made my dress and a friend made our cake. All my mom's friends pitched in for the food. My husband had just enlisted in the Air Force and we had no money either. You guys, thank you so much for the hearts. I love it. Belinda said, I remember my walk-in song was Going to the Chapel by Bette Midler. I love Bette Midler's voice. Shirley said, thank you. You're welcome, Shirley. Thank you so much for being here. Kathy said, good night, everyone. Talk to you all tomorrow. Debbie said, gorgeous ornament. You guys have an awesome night. Night, Tammy. Night, Nancy. Oh, visiting with family. Okay, sorry. Dana said, night, all. Good night, Barb. Good night, Linda. Oh, Bev said my February angel kit came today. Can't wait. Okay, awesome. So we'll be making the angel tomorrow. So maybe you can make along with me tomorrow. Night, you guys. I will see you tomorrow. Have an awesome rest of your night and happy ornamenting, guys. Bye.